We're here with another vendor spotlight, and I am with Wayne Brooks and Isaac Rowe, my companions in Investor Source CLE. So thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
We talked a little bit last month with Kaz and Jenny about how different all of our personalities are, but somehow we all come together and make a cohesive family, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, how we've got so many strong personalities and everyone works well together. So I just want to talk to you, let everyone know a little bit about Investor Source. We're going to talk a little bit about the Cleveland market as well. So Wayne, why don't you tell everyone who you are, where you got your start, and what you do?
Yeah. I'm Wayne Brooks. I got started in real estate about 10 years ago. I was still living in Jamaica, and I kind of went on Craigslist one day and found that Cleveland had some unbelievable pricing for housing, and I didn't think it was real, so I flew here and then realized it was real, and I just kept going from there. Bought a house and bought another one and bought another one, and then it just kind of became a full-time thing from there. And then I kind of niched into helping other investors like myself do deals in Cleveland that are not local. So that's kind of how I specialize in helping out-of-state investors, because that's how I started. So yeah,
for sure. Are you seeing a lot of out-of-state investors buying in Cleveland right now?
Yeah, I mean it's been growing year over year over year.
I agree.
It's like as the popularity in the Cleveland gets more on the map.
Yeah.
People just keep coming in more and more. So yeah, it's definitely hasn't slowed down at all.
No, exactly. And I feel that I've seen even more of it pick up. Isaac and I talking about it a little bit before, is that, Zillow just ranked Cleveland as the #2 housing market. And that has only drawn attention to us. And I feel personally that it has more to do with the investment side. It was due to, job growth and all of that. And I'm definitely seeing a lot of out-of-state investors, a lot of country investors, a lot of people coming from Canada. Are you seeing people from
Canada, China, Israel,
all over the world,
Australia, I mean, Spain, everywhere.
Yeah, Canada seems to be it's almost like logical for Canada. Like there's a lot of, and I can't say for all the different provinces, but many of them have very strict tenant laws. So they're very in favor of their tenants, and it makes it really hard to be a landlord there. But it's also only like a 2 to 3 hour drive for them to come here. So it's not like it's a far drive, so it makes sense. They can come and check in. So it makes a lot of sense for them to invest here.
And price to rent ratio in Canada. It's just like hell. It's just like
it doesn't.
So that's why we have, so I mean,
exactly.
for them to come here, it's much easier.
Awesome. And now what do you do?
Now I'm a full-time real estate investor and an investor-focused agent as well. I flip houses, in my investment business. I have a portfolio of rentals, mixture of short-term and long-term. And getting into a little bit of, rehab consultation and a little bit of social media now.
Right.
So, just kind of all-encompassing career.
That's awesome. All right, Isaac, tell everyone about you.
Well, I started about 10 years ago, too. I think the end of 2012. Got my license in early 2013. Got started as an agent, and I always wanted to be an investor, right, Aaron? I've loved investing for, since I was maybe 14, 15. Started reading all the books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, plus 10 or 15 other books. I just caught the bug being really young. Didn't really start until I was 28, 29. But then I haven't looked back since then. So I started as an agent, did all the normal stuff, marketing on Zillow, marketing on Realtor.com, and kind of went that route. Learned really quickly that I did not want to run around buyers and be a buyer's agent. I have no patience for first-time buyers. I cannot stand all the emotional stuff with it. I just had no patience, but I just hated it. So I very quickly transitioned as fast as I could to being an investor-friendly agent. Got lucky, got a guy that flew in from California and dropped like $1.5 million in a day and a half, and we bought 10 houses.
Wow.
And I wanted to be him, right? I'm like, I got to be the guy who's buying all these houses, and I always did, but that really inspired me to transition faster. So within 2 years, I was working purely with investors, and ended up diving into investing full-time in 2015. So really since 2015, I've been investing full-time nonstop. I still have my license now. I don't do much with it, really. And if you come to me asking me to help you find deals on the MLS, I'm going to refer you to Aaron or Wayne, because I'm not going to do that for you. I can't be bothered. But I will bring you off-market deals, which is what I do. I've really kind of developed a marketing and sales company. We buy and sell houses. I buy and renovate a lot of houses. I buy and hold houses. This year started buying some Airbnbs, last year. So I'm doing all the normal stuff, the buy and hold, buy and flip. Mm-hmm. I'll close and list. I'll wholesale, which is, a very small renovation, 5, 10, 20 grand. renovation, quick turn. And I do a lot of wholesaling too. So we bring a lot of deals in. We do a lot of marketing. I have a small team now. There's 5 of us in the company. And we do a lot of deals. We just, I will sell a bunch of deals off. I'll buy as many as I can. I kind of keep my contractors busy.
Right.
And I also learned pretty quickly that I don't want to be a rehabber. I do rehab just because there's some deals that are too good to pass up, but I really don't like rehabbing houses. So I really like buying rentals, owning cash flowing assets that are creating wealth, and I really like to wholesale or close and list. So I like to keep it simple and do what I'm really good at, which is really marketing and sales at this point.
Yeah, you've done really well with the off-market thing, and that's really how I think you've created your name. At least that's how we've always seen it.
It's kind of my niche, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And what's cool, I think, out of the whole Investor Source CLE group, I mean, Rick being included, I guess, in this conversation, is that the 4 of us are just always at networking events. We've always seen each other.
Yeah.
Not that we necessarily all did deals all the time, but we all knew that each other was good at what we did because we were always present. We were always active. We were always hustling and doing it. I don't think I realized that you guys had been in the business for 10 years, though. Because I'm just starting year 4 this year.
Are you only 4 years in?
Yeah.
That's you've been around forever.
That's a little embarrassing. Though.
She's
Yeah, I just started year 4.
maybe she should be on our podcast.
Yeah.
4 years in and you've done this much. That's kind of crazy.
It's awesome.
It's a wild ride for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about Cleveland's market that makes it so strong for investors?
Honestly, well, we talked about price to rent ratio earlier, right? And it's just, it's just bang for your buck is all I can say, right? We got hit pretty hard in 2008. And then, the rebound kind of slowly has come back to, normalization. But even at us being at peak prices right now, the returns that investors are getting on even something that we would call top of the market, it's still eclipsing other, parts of the country. So I think the more attention that has been drawn to that has just caused Cleveland to be put more and more on the map. We have a lot of economic factors that cause people to want to stay in Cleveland, and investors just kind of have capitalized on that. So I've seen it for 10 years. I think I was ahead of the curve on that. And, now it just seems like, man, the secret's out of it.
Yeah. People found out about it, right?
People found out about it, but it's fine. It's healthy. It's healthy for our market.
And it's good for growth too, is having the out-of-state investors. I mean, there's ups and downs, I think, because they're out of state. Sometimes they don't know what's going on. And while I think Cleveland makes for great investments, we're pretty well known for also having the worst contractors. So
It's terrible.
which doesn't really work out. You can't have great projects to rehab and no one who can do a great job rehabbing it.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe what starts to give a bad name to out-of-state investors, just because you have to have a good network. And I say it a million times, I'm sure you guys say it a million times, is that your value is key. And honestly, at Investor Source, one of the biggest things that we do, and we powwow every vendor we promote, every person we recommend, because we want to make sure that they are performing to the top of the list.
Yeah.
And, we're recommending high quality people because it is too common that, people go under from those.
Yeah, I think we're using our past experiences and all our references and everything, and trying to put it all into one trusted place for people to come and find whatever it is they're looking for, right? Yeah. So that's kind of why we even named it Investor Source, because we wanted to be the source of everything you need to have success in your investment career.
Exactly. Jenny and Kaz and I talked about, and I've said it before, and I don't think anyone likes when I call us the Spice Girls, but but we do all kind of have a little role. What do you guys think your role in Investor Source is?
Isaac, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, I used to run an event for like 5 years with a buddy of mine, Jeff, and when he decided he didn't want to do it anymore, and but I really want to be a part of an event, but I don't want to do everything. It's a lot of work, and I sat down with Rick, 6 to 8 months ago, and he said, "Hey, Rick, let's do something, man. Like, let's get some people together. Let's do something." And then I didn't even know what happened, but 6 to 8 months later, And
so I need to know, we talked about this. How did Investor Source start? Because I don't know. I was the final wheel on this crazy train.
How'd you get into it?
Wayne asked me.
Okay.
Yeah, so you asked her.
Yes, I only know that I came in at the end when he
remember.
said, "Hey, we have this crazy thing going on.
Yeah.
You
That's
should
a
come
good
to this
question.
meeting, and I came,
Yeah.
but there was a ton of people there too, like Darren
Yeah.
Mancuso, there was
There's a lot
Eldon
of
was
big
there. I was
hitters,
like,
which
who?
I was shocked.
Oh yeah, I thought it was like a small thing. There was like, a ton of heavy hitters there.
Yeah, I kind of just tried to bring everybody into one group, and then we would just kind of figure
See
out
who
what
stuck.
would work well, and then that's kind of how it.
I always like the idea of working with Rick Rucker because I know he's a marketing genius. So
that guy
I,
knows everybody.
he knows everyone. He's Mr. Network. I mean, we all network a lot, but that guy is
Yeah.
at every single networking thing you've ever seen. So I think I talked to him on the phone a while ago about it, and then of course I had no idea. I was thinking a
So
small
whose
little
idea was
casual
it?
event. It was just a group idea.
It was
I
just a
think.
group.
just
I
kind
think
of
so. Isaac
happened.
invited me and Rick. We
Yeah.
sat down.
We all talked, and I
and
just
then we said, "Hey guys, we really need to do something, right?"
Yeah.
And then it started from, well, what do we want it to be? What do we want it to look
Yeah.
like? Where are we going to do it? And how
Yeah.
who's going to be there? And then initially it was just going to be me, Isaac, and Rick.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I found our location.
Yeah, that was killer with Jenny.
I found the
Jazz
venue, and I was like, guys, I found the perfect place for this. And then I think we talked at locals event.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I think Aaron would really be a really good addition to the team. So I invited you. And then, Cass and Jenny were literally just the kind of the glue that brought everything together. 'Cause
Oh,
Jenny's like the
huge.
greatest integrator there
Critical.
is.
Yeah.
And Cass has all these ideas and all these different resources that she brings to the table.
Oh, yeah.
In even our venue being her own vision, right? So it just kind of, I just feel like when you have the right people in the right place, things just kind of fall in to where they're supposed to be. And
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Rick on the phone way back, and I was like, "Dude, we definitely should do something." And then, and I thought, "Hey, let's get Wayne involved. Let's all get together and just brainstorm this." And that was the like initial meeting. I think was at the market in Rocky River, and we just sat down and talked about it. I honestly had no idea it would become so good. To be honest, I just wanted to be a part of an event. I thought we'd get 30, 40, 50 people there. It'd be great. And I just want to be a part of something. It's just good for the business, and I enjoy it. I really love hanging out with people. I love networking. It's super, super valuable. But I mean, what it's become. I mean, I'm so we just have so many great pieces. We have different skill sets. Everything kind of gels together somehow, and everyone brings something different to the table with our knowledge base and what we have to offer as well. So I've been honestly super impressed with how it's gone. I'm really just happy to be a part of it. To be honest, I think I definitely wasn't planning anything like this. I don't think any of us were thinking it would become so big so soon. But I think we just love it. I'm really enjoying it, and I think we just want to keep adding value to it and making it better and better. And
and I used to go to your events back, years ago at the Yacht Club, and I knew Isaac knew what it took to make something like this happen. So when he called me up and said, "Hey, dude, I think we really should do something," I was honored, honestly.
Yeah.
Because we've always I've known Isaac like 7, 8
yeah,
years
a long
now.
time.
Like we've known each other for a while.
A lot of respect for each other.
A lot of respect and love for each other. So it's like when that happened, I'm like, all right, so now we just have to kind of figure out.
That experience piece was missing,
Yeah.
and it needed to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love being a part of something. I don't, I'm very much a team guy. Like I'm like, hey, let's get some cool people together, do something fun. That's kind of how I live my life.
I think we're all about.
I enjoy it.
I think for all of us, and we all may have selfish reasons to it. We want to get in front of more people, and we want to sell our deals. But for all of us, I think we want to add value. If anyone comes to me at any time and is like, "Hey, can you help me run this deal? Can you help me understand how to do this? What do I need to do?" I'm there 110%. So I want everyone else to know that. I think we're all the same ways. Let me show you that I know what I know. And then also, if you have any questions, let me let you know that you can come to me with any of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've always believe that adding value to people is inherently selfish as well, even though it's for the other person. It also benefits you, so it's like a win-win.
You learn by teaching.
You win-win. I mean, I've made a lot of money by coaching people that are newer in the business. I don't charge for coaching. People tell me I should, but I don't know. I just don't really want to be honest. I really enjoy just helping people out, and then I'll do some deals with them.
Then you have to go.
Yeah, and then I've made a lot of money just having coffees with people and just sharing my knowledge with them, right? And I think a networking event like this, where we all just share knowledge, is kind of like a coffee event on steroids, right? Like it's like, hey, we're sharing knowledge, we're getting a nice audience base, and everyone can learn and grow. And I think everybody wins in that scenario.
Yeah.
I think the feedback has been really positive from the event. Like everybody who has come has said to me, "Hey, this is the one of the most valuable events that I've been to." Like it's the only, like even our vendors have said, we've been to so many events, and we've our sponsors, I should say, and we've sponsored other events, and we've not gotten business out of it. Like we just do it to say we did.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm getting business out of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting value out of it.
And we all are.
We all are.
Yeah.
Our phones ring
Yeah.
after this event, whether it's just regular people who want to connect and chop it up
Yeah.
or somebody who actually wants to do business.
And just think how fast, I mean, the amount of sponsors that we have already, and then that we have like a line of people wanting to sponsor,
Yes.
and we're only 3 months in.
That's what I was gonna say. Is
That's
that
not
the
normal.
sponsors.
That's not it's not easy to get sponsors like that, and it's just been so easy for us to get sponsors and
Kind of speaks to who we are though in
Yeah.
this market, right?
Yeah.
And it's like people, I was kind of, honored when somebody said, "You guys are all heavy hitters," and I'm like, I guess that's
Which
true.
is, yeah, it is.
I
I mean,
guess
it's a
that's true.
compliment as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
And I think it's cool when anyone says that about any of us. But I would say it about every one of you every time. I don't know that I would have been like, "Hey, I'm a heavy hitter."
no, you don't
But
talk
I'm
to
not
say
gonna
it
say I'm
about
not.
yourself.
But
Yeah.
it is really cool that people acknowledge our experience and respect what we have to say and our opinions and want to hear what we have to say. I think our first event we had spots for 50 people.
Yeah.
The room held 50 people, and we were sold out in standing room only.
People
Then
are
our-
upset.
Yeah.
People are upset.
And then our
Yeah.
next event in that would be in March. Then our next event we had room for like 100, and we were still standing room only.
Yeah.
And this time, I think the RSVPs are already at close to 200.
Yeah, that's great.
It's
I mean,
nuts.
that's literally like doubling
And
every.
there's something about the energy that
Oh, yeah.
that is circling around the event, right? Like it's got a buzz, right? And that really happened because of the group we have.
Yeah.
Is that, I don't think any one of us could have done that on our own. There's 6 of us, and all of us together could create this this awesome event. But there's no way that any one of us could have done that on our own.
There's also
It's,
nothing else like it.
No,
I mean, I've started
That's
to
true.
see
that's true.
other things like it pop up, but
Yeah.
I won't say much more about that. But there's nothing else like it.
It means you're doing something right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If
sure.
they copy you,
Sure.
it means that you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Somebody came up to me and they're like, "Hey, I saw someone else is doing a podcast," and I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "Well, isn't that your competition?" I said, "No."
No.
I said we're
There's
two
plenty of
completely
space.
different
There's
people.
plenty of space.
Right.
We're talking about two very different things.
Yeah.
We each have unique perspectives and values to bring.
Yeah.
No, just because it's about real estate investing or about Cleveland, whatever it's about, it's not competition. There's
Yeah, for
more
sure.
than enough to go around for all of us.
100%.
Teaching more never scares me because
Yeah.
I personally have too much. Like, here, come let me teach you so I know you do it right and I can share these leads with you.
I'm,
Right.
It's really my mindset.
I'm huge on abundance versus
Abundance.
scarcity
Yes.
mindset. You really can't do well in life if you have a scarcity mindset. Like if I think that Wayne's my competition, like look, I'm gonna make money with Wayne. I'm gonna help him make money. He's gonna help me make money.
Yeah.
There's plenty of money in the world. Like there's enough money in the world for everyone to be millionaires. There is not a problem with having enough out there, right? Like,
I heard
there's
an
plenty for all
analogy.
of us.
I
Yeah.
heard an analogy like money and success and anything like that is just like sunlight. It's like sunshine.
It's available to,
It's
to all of us.
available to all of us.
Yeah.
You getting as much as you need doesn't stop me from getting as much as I
100%.
need,
Right.
and that's the way you kind of have to look at it. And
Yeah.
that mindset will set up anybody to win.
That's made me
agree.
that mindset's made me a lot of money.
And you know what's cool about this event is that, they always say don't be the smartest person in the room. But we're still not the smartest people
No.
in this room.
No, we're not.
And that's the craziest part. We're not the biggest investors that come to our event.
No.
We're not the most successful. We don't have the most experience. There are way heavier hitters that come to our event for the networking, I don't know, for the drinks, I don't know what it is, but they're there representing us, supporting us. They're there, maybe they're there for the deals.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we brought in from your event was actually closing deals after, which
Yeah.
a lot of networking events, you talk and you meet with the insurance people and you do all of that. That's great, but you're here to sell
Yeah.
deals. And I was just talking to you about like a bunch of the deals that we have lined up for,
Yeah.
the next one, and it keeps going. Wayne, why don't you talk to us about what the next event is?
Oh, perfect. So the next event, we're really, really excited about that. So it's going to be a panel style like we normally do, and the theme is the Investor Dream Team.
Love it.
And
Love that.
essentially, what it is we're putting all the people in front of you that you need to have on your team to have success in your investing career. So you're going to have me as your investor agent that I'll help you find deals both on and off market, negotiate aggressively for you, and I'll help you sell those deals when you're done, no matter what, turnkey, retail, whatever it is. You'll have Isaac, who will always be able to be your source for off market deals because his whole business is centered around finding opportunities that he can sell to other investors so that they can make money.
And as an investor agent, it's imperative to me to work with wholesalers.
Yes.
Because my network is my value. And so if my investors all want off-market deals,
Yeah.
I need to have every resource I have with every hand in all their baskets working for me. So you go and sign up these deals, you know my buyers are good. We should be working together.
100%.
And I think that's one of the biggest keys, like you're saying right there, is
Yeah.
use those resources. People get scared to like use the wholesalers, to use these other deals. What are you going to make all the calls and find all the off-market deals
No.
yourself? If you're
Yeah.
calling, you're probably buying that property yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize about assembling a team like this is it costs you nothing.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
You know, we're all working for you while creating our own value for ourselves. So like, yeah, get your agent that is an investor focused agent who understands what your goals are.
And that is different. That is
That's
different
totally
than a normal
different
agent.
from a normal agent. I can't even, that's a whole nother rabbit hole conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But then
I have a whole class on it because it's a whole
Yeah,
other
A lot
rabbit
of
hole.
agents are not investor friendly.
Oh my
at all.
God.
They're
Well, it's
anti-investor
because
friendly.
what people need to know is that realtors are not taught how to work with investors.
Yeah.
They are not taught how to analyze an investment property, whether it be a single family rental or a 40-unit
Yeah.
apartment building. You're not taught that. And so you can't expect any realtor who does, multi-millions of dollars in sales to understand even how to do that. And I have that experience right now with an apartment complex of mine. She was on a panel, a top 20 leading lady, but she didn't know how to put this whole contract together.
yeah.
And not everybody, like you said, investor focused realtor, ask the questions, make sure they know what they're doing, give them a pop quiz. How do you calculate a cap rate or cash on cash?
I had an agent recently who has a house listed that we were offering on, and the numbers were just ridiculous. Like it's just like rented for like I think like $850, and she's asking for $150,000 or something like that. And the reason she came up with her I asked her like, where'd you come up with your list price? And she's like, well, I figured, it's a 1,600 square foot house, and I divide the square footage by this much, and then the market rate is this, so it's like price per square foot. And I'm like, this is a single family home. You understand that? Mm-hmm. And I looked up her sales, and she only sold one house in the last 24 months. And I said, I started talking to her about, have you looked up rent comps and this and that? And honestly, it just seems like everything I was saying was going right over her head.
Yeah, it's just not what she does.
And I said to her, she's like, well, listen, this is not an investment deal. I'm selling this as a for sale. She said she's selling this as a for sale. I don't know what that meant.
It's a new type of way to sell a house.
But she said it's not an investment deal, even though it's tenant occupied. So it just says to me, the seller probably knew her or somebody told him to call her. But it just, guys, if you're gonna get into real estate investing, just try to align yourself.
Right?
Get educated, right?
Yeah.
And interview your agent. Ask them certain questions. And even if they don't have a ton of experience, as long as their focus is on investments and they understand the general terms and calculations and what to do.
Yeah.
And go in that direction.
I also think that not all agents should be investor friendly, right? Like it's not all agents have to be, but just if you're looking for investment property, not any agent's gonna do. Right. There's about 5 to 10% of agents who can actually help you with that, and 90% you should not be talking to. One of the things I've been doing lately is going around the different real estate offices in their monthly meetings and doing like a whole PowerPoint presentation on educating them on how to work with investors, because really agents should be able to work with investors, or at least have a base knowledge. So if they get a great investor that comes across their path, they can capitalize on that and have consistent income. Because the nice thing about an investor for an agent is they'll buy one every 6 months, 2 or 3 a year, whatever it might be. Whereas a retail buyer is buying one every 7 to 8 years on average, right? So the investor client can really stabilize an agent's business.
Yeah, it's an evolving door.
It's been a great networking tool for me too to educate agents. Then they bring me their deals, right? So it's something I can.
Yeah, I mean it's helpful because for me, I have a goal. I want to help as many agents, especially women, learn how to feel confident working with investors and investing themselves. And the biggest piece of that is really the education, because they don't know. Mm-hmm. So creating that CE class I have working with investors, doing this networking event, all of that plays into the educating everyone so they understand. But to your point, not everyone should. Yeah. I just gave away a lead for an $800,000 listing.
Yeah. Because
I don't do luxury and I don't want to.
Yeah.
My focus is in multifamily. So am I the best person to represent them here?
Definitely
No,
not.
No, I'm not the best agent for you. And when I talk to people, you're 100% right, Wayne. Interview your agent. Whether you're selling your personal house or selling an investment property, interview your agent. Because not everyone's the same, but also not all personality types click. When I call someone, I said, I'd like to interview for the job of being your realtor. give me a call and let's see if we click. Let's see if I'm the right match. I might not be the right match. And I've had to fire clients because of it. Because look, you and I just aren't going to see head to head here. We're on different terms. What you want, what I want aren't going to match up. Let me refer you to this person. And
it's smart.
Well, it is. And it's just being knowledgeable about who you are, who you should work with, who you'll work with best, and making sure that everyone is getting, as a realtor, it's my job to make sure you're getting the best service you can, if that's from me or if it's not from me.
I've seen so many agents and so many investors get hurt because they're working with an agent who just tells them yes to everything.
Yeah.
And I recently lost a couple clients. I didn't even say lost. We parted ways amicably because I was the guy who was saying that does not fit into the model that you've explained and your goals that you've explained to me. And if it doesn't resonate with me, I'm not going to do it just for a commission. You're going to be mad 6 months to a year from now, and then you're going to write me a bad Google review. No thanks.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Find somebody else.
Yeah.
But going back to the meeting for next month, so it's myself, it's Isaac, and you're needing those 2 people on your team, then how are you going to fund it, right? So if it's going to be, most of the times for investors, we're looking to create value in some type of way. So we're trying to buy stuff that has inherent equity when we buy. And most of the times we need short-term funding for that. So I'm bringing in Jake from Fund That Flip to talk about bridge funding, whether it be something that you just need to buy, fix, and then rent and refinance, or buy, fix, and sell. So those are typically 6 to 12 month loans. So there's Jake, me, Isaac. We're gonna bring in Rick, the man Rick Rucker himself, to talk about getting Jake off your back for that, getting that short-term loan paid off and getting
on the refinance out
and getting you into long-term money, or just straight out 30-year cash, rental loans, right, with a down payment, whatever that might be.
That's exciting.
And he's got all those Airbnb, DSCR, all that product, so bringing him in, and then we're bringing on a vendor, Kevin from MFS Supply, just to talk about the fact that you can buy quality materials for cheap, or better pricing than just going to regular Home Depot and getting, the quality that you get at Home Depot for one price, you can get a better quality for the same price, and then extract more value out of your renovation. I renovate every single house the same, whether I'm renting it or I'm selling it.
Same.
Because I try to get the value out of either higher rents and the higher appraisal on the back end, whether I'm going to sell it or whether I'm going to keep it. So those it's we're just assembling a dream team for you. Everybody gets paid when they do their job. So investors need to understand, working with all of us is only going to set you up for success, instead of you're just kind of dilly-dallying around. A lot of people are just waiting on the sidelines, not knowing how to get started, not knowing if they're doing the right thing. And it's if you have all of these people in place, really all you're doing is just plug and play. Isaac will bring you a deal, Jake will fund it, Kevin will help you. You
advise on what needs to be done.
I'll advise on what needs to be done, finding a contractor. When it's all done, Rick will refi you, or I'll sell it for you, and we rinse and repeat the process.
Keep going.
That's the dream team, and that's
it's really all about who you know, and that's why I love Wayne's idea so much, because if I had that kind of access when I first got into business, I could have done so much more, so much faster, right? Because it takes a long time to find these people, because it's not just finding them, it's finding the wrong one 4 times and trying them and wasting time, wasting money, losing. And it isn't really about losing money, because money can be made and lost, but it's about losing your time, right? We only have one life here. We only have so much time. And if I'm going to waste 2 years trying to find the right people, when I can in one meeting be like, here's a group of people who can come in that took me 2 or 3 years to find and develop and learn that you can trust these guys. That's the hard part. Not all wholesalers are equal. Not all friendly agents are equal. Not all suppliers are equal. Not all lenders are equal. Some lenders are all talk, no game. How many times I've spent 2 months with a lender and they just don't get the deal done.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the way Rick is. That's not the way Jake is. They get stuff done. And if they can't get it done, they're going to tell you. They're going to be honest with you. This isn't doable. It's not viable. And it's all about protecting your time, which is your most important resource, really.
And that's why, I think this is such a valid point, or such an important point, is that's why our second event was how to not lose money, where we talked exactly about this. So many people, when you're analyzing a flip, yes, you want to look at the closing costs you're going to pay now. You're going to look at the numbers that you're doing. Are you including the closing costs and the commissions for when you go to sell that? Because I feel like everyone forgets this piece.
They're not.
And if you have $30,000 of profit and you're losing 15 or so to commissions and closing costs, that just killed your deal. So it's just having the knowledge and you teaching and showing people the dream team. It just reinforces that one point. Are you remembering the step?
Yeah.
Because the step is after all the busy stuff that you're thinking about.
Yep.
It's the last step that you're not thinking about.
Yeah.
And it's where you're going to lose your ass.
100%.
That you need to think
And that's
about.
where someone like Wayne comes in and goes, okay, he's an agent. He does deals himself. He owns rentals, Airbnbs. He does flips. He knows at the end what the real costs are,
Yeah,
right? He's
exactly.
done this.
And what
Like, I
it's
know
going to
what the
sell
costs
for.
are. And if you don't factor that in, you're going to lose money. And this happens all the time is that people come in thinking, they watch some show on TV. Oh, cool, it's fun to flip a house. Flipping a house is a hard business. And it is a business. It's a business model. It's a way to make money or lose money, as in any business. If you don't do it right, you're going to lose money. And the smarter the people are that you have around you, the more likely it is you're going to make money. And just imagine taking all this time, trying all this stuff, getting to the end, then losing $20,000, right?
Right.
It's like you're like literally
You thought you
paying
did it all.
to
Yeah.
spend your own time learning lessons that you could have avoided by just having the right person in place.
Exactly.
And then last but not least, we have Sean Hathaway from Frontline.
Nice.
He's coming in as well.
That's nice.
He's a home inspector, but guess what? He's an investor-friendly home inspector.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So Sean, I don't know if he wants me to, but I don't care, man. I'm doing it anyway. He's launching a company called Investor Inspections.
I love
That's a
that.
great idea.
And
Love it.
I mean, it's just a revolutionary concept. It's kind of shocking it took this long.
What do you think the difference is between a residential inspection and a investor inspection?
So with what he kind of explained to me was, one, he's going to try to be more aggressive on pricing, which investors care about.
Yeah.
Most times they don't want to do a home inspection because they're like, it just looks like an extra $300-400 that they don't want to
Or
spend.
if you buy a multifamily and now you're paying
Now
that
you're
per
paying that
unit.
whatever, right? So he's going to be, I think, a little bit more aggressive on pricing. He's also going to, I believe, include in his report a rehab estimator, which will
Love
say,
that.
hey,
That's interesting.
this
This will
I
cost
found
me.
that these were bad, but this is what it might cost to replace. Based on
Average cost or something.
average cost based on resources that
Like
we
that.
have access to,
Yeah.
right? And then he's also going to just provide them with a checklist and a couple of resources in the event you have to skip having a home inspection. Because think about a wholesale deal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
It's
only
gotta
get
be
one
quick.
walkthrough,
Yeah.
and you have to make a decision quickly.
For my
So-
deals, it's only one walkthrough.
Well, there you go, right?
Generally.
So
Yeah.
as an investor inspector, he's wanting to provide a resource to his clients that will allow them to make this educated decisions.
Yeah.
Using his formulas and strategies, his techniques.
I love that idea because I think as well with that, like say you have an off-market deal and you have a walkthrough set up and you have an hour window. Well, you could send him as your
Yeah.
contractor inspector. He can go do the
Yeah.
report for you, and it doesn't work if it's a 3-hour normal residential inspection report. As an investor myself, when I'm looking at a property, I don't care about the paint and the floor and the kitchen and bathrooms. Those are easy to calculate the cost of. I care about the plumbing, the electrical, the roof, the windows, the siding, the concrete,
Yep.
the HVAC, what you can't see, the
Foundation.
foundation.
Yeah.
You need a checklist really of the expensive items.
The big
where,
things.
like it might be $30,000 to renovate the house cosmetically, but is there another $25,000 you didn't notice?
You didn't see.
Because you didn't take the time to really get it checked out, and that's where an investor-friendly inspection is great because the time on those deals isn't really there for a normal inspection. So people send
Yeah.
contractors, which can also work.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the contractor that you know and trust, maybe you're newer in the business, just getting going. Something like this is huge.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I think the beautiful thing about the whole panel for next month is that every single person that's sitting on that panel or on that team is also an investor themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
And that's huge.
I buy and sell and flip. I have my own
Yep.
portfolio. Isaac does the same.
Yeah.
Sean does the same. Rick does the same. Kevin does the same.
Yep.
You know what I
love
what I
that.
mean? We all have that.
You all know what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of times when I'm like, oh, this is an investor-friendly inspector, people think that means they're less detailed. And that's not what it means. It means their pricing is typically a little bit more, but they understand that you don't need an 18-page
Yes.
report telling you every GFI that's not
84
grounded.
report.
Yeah, I mean,
He's not going to
that-
tell you about
Yeah.
the hole in the wall. You see it already. You know, you understand
exactly,
it's a patch.
exactly. It's a rental. We understand that certain things
It's a
come with it.
protection tool.
For
essentially.
homeowners, an inspection is meant to tell you everything that's wrong with
Yeah.
it. It's meant to scare you out of it. They want you to know everything that's bad. As investors, you should just expect that half of it's bad.
Exactly.
Just expect that half
You're
of it's
buying
bad.
it as is,
Yeah.
right?
It's as is.
There's no take backs here,
Right.
You
guys.
just need to know what you need
Yes.
to do,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
and it's the big things. Is the roof
Yeah.
good? Is the electrical? Are there
Yeah.
Federal Pacific panels? How is the foundation?
Yeah.
Are there any like I don't know what to look for, like junctions and when these things go
Yeah.
together. Is there any of that funky stuff that's not legal or not done correctly? Or hey, this is going to start a fire. I need to know that.
Yeah,
I've
for
gone to
sure.
a lot of inspections. I've flipped houses myself. I know kind of what to look for, but
Yeah.
I still miss stuff.
Of course, we all
And
do.
so I think having that person who can walk through and, put their little beeper into all the outlets, which is more than a contractor would do, but also kind of include that contractor side would be huge. Would be huge
Yeah.
for.
So the idea is just to kind of give them a flow, right?
Yeah.
Give anybody who wants to invest. I mean, it's my team as well.
Yeah, sure.
I'll buy deals from Isaac, and I'll have Jake
Yeah.
fund them, and I'll have Sean inspect them, and I'll have Rick
Yeah.
finance. So it's everybody, right? So it's
Yeah.
like giving a flow of whatever avenue you want to take or whatever route you want to take. You can use this team to get you there,
Yeah.
right? And if you want to do multifamily, obviously hit up Aaron as well.
Yeah.
Right?
But it'd basically be the same team too.
Same
It's
team.
the same thing.
Same team.
When someone calls me like, "Hey, I want to invest here. Do you have?" Yes, I have everything.
Yeah.
And again, your network is your value in
Yeah.
this business. Is I have anyone you need. And if I don't have it, I have a team of 180 agents who
Yeah,
they'll have it. If they don't have it, or if you guys don't have it, we'll find
We'll
it.
find it.
We'll find it. And I'm not going to get you some Joe Schmo down the street. I'm going to get you the best of the best.
Yeah,
and I
for
want a
sure.
couple people.
Yeah.
I just did it with my husband's. My husband has to have surgery on his knee. And I'm like, I need everyone to tell me all the best. And then I looked at the reviews. And then I went to the other,
Yeah.
I pulled it from 100 different sources to figure out what the best answer was. And honestly, that's kind of how I've learned everything, is asking everybody the same question and
Yeah.
seeing how they answer it, and then creating my own answer based off that.
I like that. Smart.
It kind of goes like you know how you do your whole vendor spotlight,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was able to sell a deal recently because, they were gonna back out. They were so scared, but then guess what? I said, guys, what are you most scared? After reviewing it inspection, they're like, well, we need a roof and we need this, and I'm like, I'd prefer to do a roof than to do a redo a bathroom, because a roof you can do in one
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it's just drip it off,
Yeah.
replace the wood, put it back in. So it sounds more
Scary.
scary than it is. And they're like, well, we don't know anybody. I'm like, I have a roofer. I have 3
Yeah.
roofers,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
They're like, well, Wayne, we got to get with you to get your subs. I'm like, sure, if that's what gets the deal.
Yeah,
done,
100%.
Yeah.
I'll coordinate it for you. There's not enough agents that can do that.
No.
Right?
No.
No.
No, there's. I mean, we're very rare. We're very rare in what we do. That this is what we specialize in, and I think being investors ourselves kind of plays a role in that. I think more we see like what Isaac does is he is an agent, but really he's just an investor. He
Yeah.
just kind of got that license because he thought it would be easier, and he was like, never mind that. I'm just going to do this.
Yep.
And that's kind of the progression of it.
Yeah.
So
I think his business is just phenomenal.
It is.
It's just, and just how much has to go into it. People kind of underestimate it, and they don't
It's a
give
lot harder
enough
than it looks like.
give enough credit
Yeah.
to what they have to actually do
Yeah.
to bring these deals to market.
Yeah.
Which is why I started looking at it like, man, as long as the deal works for me, I don't really
Yeah.
care what the assignment fee is. I don't care what.
and
You
nobody
know,
should.
nobody should,
It's,
you know
it's
what I
about
mean?
your overall number, and if the
It
number,
is.
if you did a good job at negotiating the deal up front, because that's your job.
Yep.
to
The seller's
negotiate a good
paying you
deal.
essentially.
Exactly. If you did your job up front, negotiated a good price, why
Yeah.
should I take that away from you?
Yeah.
Because I'm still getting it at a great
Yeah,
price that
yeah,
I
yeah.
want it. So
Yeah.
what's it matter that you
Yeah,
got that
and
great
I
deal?
honestly am surprised that, and maybe it's the way that we present the deals, but we normally don't have an issue with people being upset how much
Yeah.
money we're making. And when you're running a company too, like I don't really, it used to be just me and an admin, a part-time admin, and then it was just, okay, so I'm making what I'm making. Well, now I have a big monthly overhead, I have employees, I have marketing budget, there's a lot that goes into running a business of any kind, right?
Yeah.
And really what I do is, and this is why I tell people now, you can call me whatever you want, but really I'm a marketing and sales guy. Like I run a marketing company. We do advertising on TV and mail and cold calling. We funnel leads into Salesforce CRM. We have employees
Yeah.
that handle the lead flow. We have an employee that handles the outbound investor relations. We have an admin. We have,
Right.
back office manager. We have bookkeeping. But no one understands this stuff about, and that's why a lot of people don't do well at finding off market deals, because they get lucky and find a deal and they're, oh great, I'm going to make 10 grand, whatever. And then they're all excited. And the next month it's gone, and they spent it on trying to grow, and they didn't know what they were doing, right?
Right.
So it's definitely a lot harder than it looks to turn it into a profitable business. I've been able to do it, thankfully, and I'm very grateful because I love what I do. I really enjoy being in the business. I enjoy having an exciting daily life that I can control, right? And I think that's one of the beautiful things about real estate, about a group like Investor Source, is it gives you this opportunity to get involved with people who are who have learned, I've been doing this 10, 11 years, and there's so many years of experience. You know how many painful lessons I've learned? You know how much money I've lost over the years? Like,
Dude,
we've all, I mean, Wayne too, we've all
Believe me.
made terrible mistakes
Right.
and
Yeah.
done, even now I bought a house that I should not have bought, and it's a terrible rehab, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna make money on it long term because it's an Airbnb, but, the rehab budget is like, 75% low when I bought it, right? And this is stuff that we all make mistakes, right? Even when you know what you're doing, you do everything you can to prevent mistakes, you're still gonna make them. But when you're new, you don't have the cushion to absorb these mistakes. So you need to cushion yourself with a team around you who can stop you from screwing up before you even start, right?
Can I just say honestly, people pay thousands of dollars for mentorship.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've paid. Oh my God.
Oh,
I do.
Same.
I have two
Same.
coaches.
Even now,
Isaac,
even now.
Come on, we've
Yeah.
spent over 6 figures on
Yeah.
mentorship over the
100%.
year. I mean,
100%.
literally, and it's like to know that you can literally walk into a room for free,
Yeah.
with all these people.
Yeah, it's huge.
That like networking, man, is just it's so
It's worth
underrated.
it.
It's like you have to just put yourself in the right room.
Yeah.
I mean, I
it's
can't
always
speak to it
like that.
enough.
I agree.
So I had a room like this when I started, bro.
Oh, dude. Even in my business now, we do a lot of marketing. We spend a lot of advertising money, but a large part of my business and deal flow comes through networking. Like I just did a deal with you, Aaron. I think it closed last week, right? Like a lot of what I do comes from people I know,
Yeah.
right? And that's been a huge part of the business. And people underestimate that when they get in the business. They don't really understand the power of who you know
Right.
and making money working with other people. And there's a huge amount of value in that. Just knowing the right people, being able to put deals together and get stuff done, it's hugely valuable.
I'm going to switch gears for a second. And on a personal level, what areas in Northeast Ohio do you guys like to invest in?
Well, my portfolio is heavy on the east side. I have a few properties on the west side, but I mean, I'm probably 80% on the east side, the eastern suburbs. So not East Cleveland, guys. A lot of people. I know
East
where
side of Cleveland
East
and
side
East
of
Cleveland are
Cleveland
different.
is different from
Yeah,
east.
yeah.
Exactly. So the east side of Cleveland, the suburbs, and a couple pockets in Cleveland proper. And that's really just because that's where I was introduced to when I first started, and I got to know the areas really
Yeah.
well. And
You
so
like Garfield, Maple, is that what you're...
I'm in Garfield, Maple, South Euclid, Mayfield Heights, Bedford,
Yeah.
you name it, I'm there.
So anywhere where people need to know that there's a point of sale.
I know all of them.
Well,
I know all of them, all the city, the building apartments. I've probably been
Yeah.
to court in every single city.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love building
mean,
apartments.
oh my God, I probably still have escrow money in probably every city. I've forgotten
my
about.
gosh.
But yeah, so it's not for everybody. Obviously, some investors just hate that whole.
Yeah.
I
Just,
love
you know.
that. Like, I love the east side too. And there's a saying in Cleveland, for a lot of people who don't know, is that the east will come west, but the west won't come east.
Mhm.
And I live on the east side. My office is on the west side, though, and I love investing in the east side.
Yeah.
East side also has the point of sale, which
Yeah.
I think it steers a lot of investors away from those areas, but it shouldn't. I think
No.
it steers enough investors away that it's got less competition because it steered all these other investors away than the west side. But it's not rare to hear someone who's like, I just love to invest in the east side over the west.
Yeah.
Because Isaac, you're pretty heavy west, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do deals everywhere, and one of the reasons why I can do what I do profitably is because we literally do marketing in a very, very broad way. I wouldn't recommend that if you're small and new. You got to really target your top 5 zip codes. But I've been doing it long enough, and our marketing, on TV and mail is extremely broad. I just signed a deal this morning in Mansfield that we double closed.
Wow.
I bought and sold in the same day, is what that means. I bought a house in Youngstown recently. I have property in Sandusky, Port Clinton, Ashtabula, and now the majority of my business is within 30 minutes of Cleveland,
Yeah.
right? But I do a lot of these deals on the outskirts, and we did one in East Liverpool, if anyone knows where that is. It's
Wow.
way out by Pennsylvania. So I'm not afraid of going to these different markets.
Yeah.
And that's really part of what we do. And we have the staff to kind of help us do that, though, because then you got to find the buyers in those
Yeah,
markets.
who's going out there?
The way we sold the one in Mansfield is my dispositions manager went on and called a bunch of people down there who were cash buyers who owned property and found a buyer for it, right? So we had to
Awesome.
really hustle. And it took some time. But that's what you can do, right? But I wouldn't recommend that. But to somebody brand new. But my marketing is really all over Northeast Ohio. We're probably a 2-hour radius around Cleveland. We're about 12 different counties.
Yeah. I like a lot of the areas that you said, Wayne, I think are great for newer investors. The
Yeah.
Maple Heights, the Garfield Heights, the Bedford Heights, even Euclid. I like Collinwood. Nobody else likes Collinwood. I love Collinwood.
I have a couple in Collinwood.
I think they do well.
North Collinwood though, for me personally.
So I had 2 in South Collinwood, and I paid $45 for one and was getting $9.50 in rent, and I paid $60 for the other and was getting $10.50.
Wow,
that's a win. That's a win.
Well, we actually just sold a flip in South Collinwood. We paid 20. It's a duplex. We paid 20. We put, I think we put about 40 into it. And we're renting both units for $850.
It's a great deal.
Yeah. So anyone in California, these are real numbers. These are actual numbers that we pay for these properties.
And if we're talking to investors from out of state who want to buy rental property specifically, Cleveland, Akron, and Lorain slash Elyria are the markets to look in for solid quality cash flow.
Yeah. Cleveland is for cash flow.
Cleveland's
so if
for cash flow,
you're buying because you want cash flow. We're not appreciating. I mean, Lakewood does and has appreciated 8% per year over the past 10 years. But that's Lakewood, and you're also going to pay for that. Your cap rates are going to be closer to 5 or 6%.
And Lakewood's like the California of Northeast Ohio.
Exactly.
It goes up and down, whereas a lot of Northeast Ohio is pretty stable in value. Where Lakewood could crash 20%. No one really knows. It's over the years, Lakewood has really gone up and down a lot over the years. It's very unstable in terms of a long-term market, in my opinion. Once again. Yeah. But like another example of a rental, we just finished a project in Elyria, a little 3-bedroom ranch. Went to rent it, found out that Section 8 out there will pay $1,500 a month I'm in it for like 82, right? So we'll rent that for $1,500. We already have a Section 8 tenant, it looks like. So there are a lot of really good cash flow areas, and that's a personal deal that I just finished, right? I'm not making up. These are real things that are happening, and I think that's why going back again, hey, if you want to invest in Northeast Ohio, the right people, they know where to go. Right, and that's it, and it's critical.
Yeah, I mean, we have a turnkey operation as well, right? And it's basically just not promising, but our goal is to provide 10% returns on a turnkey, investment for people who don't want to do the grunt work. Yeah. You don't want to buy it and go through the whole renovation process. You want to buy something that's done, ready for a tenant or already tenant occupied that you can, conventionally finance. Yep. And it's good for people who are a W-2 job or they just want to diversify their portfolio, right? So these are all opportunities that are in Northeast Ohio, and that we have access to, operations that we're actively running right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Last question, then we can wrap up. Is with my husband being laid up with his knee and everything else, we've been blowing through books this year. So when it comes to investing in business books, what are some of your guys' favorites?
Oh God, that's a good question. There's a lot.
So investing in business books is funny. I'm probably not really big on those. It's more mindset stuff for me.
I do a lot of mindset stuff.
I do a lot of mindset stuff because
mindset books. I think they all kind of almost go hand in hand with each other. Is that to do one, you need the other.
Yeah. I'm rereading Who Not How right now.
Good one.
Yeah, I'm rereading that right now.
I don't think I've ever heard of that book.
Who Not How is a really good one.
A couple for me. If you're new in the business, I really recommend getting the understanding of the picture of real estate investing, understanding how it works. That's why I like the Rich Dad Poor Dad stuff. I've read 4 or 5 of his books. He's got a bunch, but that stuff's great if you're new. If you're a little bit further along in the business and you're investing actively and you're trying to understand how to convert, because a few years ago for me, 4 or 5 years ago, I was looking at how do I convert from a small company, which is just me basically doing everything, and I was doing well and I loved it, but I was getting a little bit burned out. You need to learn how to grow. I recommend the book Rocket Fuel. So that's a great book. And that book actually led me to hiring my brother, who works with me now for 3 years. And my brother's kind of my integrator. And according to that book, I'm like the visionary type. My brother's the integrator. And that's a great book to give you kind of the picture of what it takes to grow an actual company, which is a whole other thing, right? Yeah. So depending on where you are in the business, if you're newer, I think just get really understanding investment work, the Rich Dad Poor Dad stuff. If you're really looking to kind of level up your game, I love the book Rocket Fuel.
The Millionaire Real Estate Investor is a good one.
That's a good one too. Yeah, there's a lot of good books out there.
Oh, I know. Like we've been flying through it. I was just reading, what is it? Your 5 Next Moves or something. Yeah. It's such good information in that. It's nothing like I expected. It's not related to real estate investing at all. It's really about building a business and what you need. And there's a lot of mindset in there too. So I said they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think the real estate stuff is not. It's really not hard.
No.
It's really just mindset, systems, people, like all that stuff. 12-week year, 4-hour work week. It's like, how do you get more done in less time with not very little effort, but calculated effort, right?
For sure.
And
The truth is, you're not going to be a successful real estate investor because you read the books.
No.
Correct.
It is 100% experience, and you
Action.
should only get out there and do it. And what we try to do for you is tell you where we failed, give you the advice to kind of skip over our mistakes so you don't have to make them as well, which is better than a book's going to give you.
In the end, you got to
You
get
know?
over the hump. You got to do your first deal.
Do the first deal. The
You
first
got to
deal
get that first one done. It looks like you're jumping off a cliff and you're gonna, hit the ground and die. But
Right.
the parachute hits, and real estate's a great tool.
And I tell everybody, okay, if your first deal, say you spend $50K is a hard first deal to get because you really can't finance it. So let's just use $100K.
Yeah.
If you buy your first deal at $100,000, right? And you were cash flowing every month, you had tenants in there, blah, 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 and you sold it a year later for $100,000, did you lose anything? No, you didn't. You gained the experience of being a landlord. You sold it for the same price, but you gained all the rent for the rest of that time. So you still made money on that deal, even if you sold it the same price. So just make sure you're not going to lose on the deal. But even if you don't have a grand slam win, you still gained all that experience and learned how not to fail the next time and what to do. And you could sell that and go into the next
And
one.
the nice thing about real estate is it kind of bails you out if you hold it long enough, because real estate goes up over time. So even if you buy a bad deal, if you hold it 5, 10, 15 years,
It becomes a good deal.
and you take care of it,
Yeah.
of course. I've seen people who buy properties, don't take care of them, and then they lose money. So
Yeah,
that's a
and
different
they wonder
conversation.
why.
But
I
if you
haven't
want to
increased
take
my
care
rents
of
in the
it,
past 20 years.
yeah, exactly. Then you're not doing well, right?
haven't
And
fixed
you haven't
that
touched
leak.
the place,
Yeah.
right? Well, the roof's been leaking for 3 years, and I haven't touched it. The house
Yeah.
is full of mold. Well, that's a different situation. But if you
Right.
maintain it in a responsible way, which I think most people would, then it's gonna over time it's gonna pay you out.
I know we're wrapping up, but like, do you guys realize also, like, I was having a coaching call the other day with a guy who I coach one-on-one, and his biggest thing, he still hasn't gotten into the game, and he was like, how do I find a lender who I know is not going to scam me? That was one of his questions, right? And I said to him, the first issue I think you have is that your mindset is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
If you're constantly worried about
Losing.
and scam, and your fear is just, and I said to him, like, people need to combat fear with information.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
And like, really, you're not scared to do it. You're scared to fail.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, I'm scared to fly." Are you really scared to fly, or are you scared to crash?
Right.
Right.
That's
Scared because you don't know how to fly.
exactly.
Yeah.
You don't know how it all works.
It's about
So-
finding the people, right? Who have
Right.
the answers.
So get information, is get educated, and then obviously just have the right mindset. So that's kind of why I keep, everything I'm reading. Back to your question is like more around keeping my mindset where it needs to be. So that even if I have a failure or I lose money on a deal, I'm not, even if it's $100,000 loss, it's like pick up and go again.
Sure.
Exactly.
Love it.
Exactly. I agree. Well, everyone, give them your information. How do we get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Wayne Brooks REI. There's a lot of value there on my Instagram or on Facebook, Wayne Brooks REI. Are we giving out cell phone numbers as well? Yeah, feel free to reach out. You can find me online. My cell is 216-440-1926. Shoot me a text if I don't answer. Tell me how I can help you, and I'm looking forward to talking to anybody who wants to talk about real estate.
Right.
My investor-facing website is heartwiseinvestments.com. So HEART is in physical heart. Heartwiseinvestments.com. We got a lot of off-market deals on there all the time. You can fill out a form on there, and you'll get put into our system automatically. You can pick which counties you invest in, and you'll start getting text, emails of deals that we get off market. I am on Instagram, but not very much, so I'll just give you my cell phone number. Maybe eventually I'll be like Wayne, be an Instagram superstar. But it's 440-822-8422 is my cell phone. That's 440-822-8422. I'd love to talk to you, chat with you about anything real estate related.
Yeah. And then Investor Source, you can find Investor Source at Investor Source CLE. Make sure when everyone comes to the events, they use the hashtags as well.
Yeah.
And then our event's always the first Thursday of every month at Icon Co-work in Lakewood. And the next one is May
4th.
Is it May 4th?
May
Ooh, it's on Star
I'm glad you
Wars
knew
Day.
I'm glad you.
It's on Star
May the
Wars Day.
Force be with you.
May the 4th
What
be
day
with
before Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah, I care more about Cinco de Mayo personally.
It's my
No
avid
offense to all
Angela's
the Star
birthday
Wars
is May
fans out
4th
there.
too.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
All right,
give
guys.
them one.
Well, thanks for coming, and hopefully
Thanks,
we
Aaron.
see everyone at the
Appreciate
next
it.
Investor Source meeting.
Thanks
Cool.
for having us.
Appreciate it.
Woo.